everyone, I am demoing today my runoff groove Supreaux Deux. It is a really cool amp in the box pedal based on the vintage Supreaux amps that a lot of people are making now. It's a really solid amp in a box pedal. It overdrives just like an amp. A little bit later I'll show you driving it with a Tube Screamer clone. And I think it's a great just overall always on pedal tone enhancer. It gets really loud. It has a really useful tone control. So this is the tone control. This is a volume. This would be like the Supreaux's volume knob, so it goes completely off to loud, and that's kind of where you can think of that almost as the gain knob. And then they added a master volume knob, which the old Supreaux amps didn't have, but you can use that to control the volume because this thing can get loud. It runs on 18 volts. You can build a charge pump for it if you want to. I didn't do that, but that's something you can do. Just so you guys know, I am covering the LED knob with a little piece of tape because I put a super bright LED on here, and I didn't want it to wash out the camera when I was recording it. So let's run through some tones. I'm playing my Washburn BT2 with Seymour Duncan Alnico 2 pickups through the Supreaux straight into my Crate Palomino amp. Here's my clean tone. And let's start off with a decently clean tone from the Supreaux. So from that you see it can be just a very clean pedal. I think gives a little bit of more color. Here's my bypass signal again. And here's the Supreaux. So you see there's a lot of volume on tap. Let me turn it up all the way just so you can hear how much. And that's with the volume knob, which would be the volume knob on the amp, just a little bit behind halfway. With this thing cranked, it could get really loud. So I'm going to run through just some of the volume knob tones you can get. Like I said, it's like an amp volume knob, so if you turn it all the way down, it goes completely off. You can't hear anything. So here's about where you can start hearing the pedal actually really break up, kind of like an amp would, and it's very touch dynamic. You heard in the intro. I made all those tones with just the volume knob on my guitar and my picking. So just picking very lightly to a little bit harder, and then strumming. So it's a very touch dynamic pedal, just like a vintage amp would be. But let's keep working our way up on this volume knob. So we're at maximum gain right now, and I'm playing on the bridge pickup. And I'm just going to show you me rolling my bridge pickup volume back. So this is with it full on. So you can hear it's a very touch dynamic pedal. It makes you really want to get your fingers in the strings and play with a lot of feeling. Real quick, I'll run you through the tone knob now. Let's still get a little bit of breakup. So the tone knob is very useful. It doesn't give you a super dark tone or a super bright tone, but it's kind of similar to an amp. It is almost like a transparent tone knob, if you can think of it that way. I don't know what that really means, but that's kind of the way I would describe it. So I don't think this is really would be my go-to standalone overdrive pedal. I don't think it's something I would use to bring to a gig, and this would be my main overdrive pedal. But I think where it really excels is that kind of amp in a box tone. And if you use this like an amp and you drive it like an amp, I think you're going to get the best results that way. And before I show you doing that, I just want to show you this little switch. It's kind of a bass boost type switch. It's very subtle, but you hear it a lot in the bass strings of your guitar. So just real quick. Alright, now I really want to show you where I think this pedal excels most, and for someone who like me, who I play a lot in a small apartment, and I really like to get those crank amp tones at a more manageable volume, that's where I think amp in a box pedals like this one really excel. So what I'm going to do is I have this BYOC Overdrive 2, which is a Tube Screamer clone. I have it set up to the silicon clipping, which is standard Tube Screamer, standard EQ. And just kind of as, see the gain's kind of low, it's more of like a clean boost. So here's my clean tone. Here's it with the Tube Screamer. So it still has a bit of bite to it. Here is how I have the Supreaux set up. So again, at kind of where an amp where you would like to overdrive it, where it's still kind of clean. But if you hit hard, it starts to break up, which is kind of where you would want a regular amp to be if you were going to drive it with a Tube Screamer type pedal. And if you put it together, it sounds really great. I think those tones are where it really excels. And if what I like to do is I like to kind of use it as a tone enhancer, so it's always essentially on for me in this almost clean mode. So even when I'm playing regular chords or rhythm, it sounds, I think, a little bit better than the regular amp does. And then during solos, you kick on a tube screamer type pedal, and it overdrives like a real amp would, but at more manageable volumes. And without the Supreaux. So that's the Supreaux Deux. I think it's a really great amp in the box pedal if you want to overdrive an amp essentially at more manageable volumes. I built the thing for around 50 bucks, which is a lot cheaper than the other Supreaux type pedals out there. The one thing to note is this pedal uses 3 MOSFETs essentially as gain stages, like an amp tube would be. And I think some of the other pedals, I don't know for sure, but I think that they use an integrated circuit to replace one of those gain stages, so you can kind of get a tone like you would drive it with a tube screamer, but in one pedal. So actually I think the Supreaux I prefer. It's a little more versatile because you can get more clean tones out of it, but you can also drive it with the tube screamer. It's a great pedal. It's very touch sensitive, very reactive to your guitar's volume knob. I'll try to put the link below to Runoff Group's website so you can look up how to build it. Definitely suggest it. Love the pedal. Thanks for watching. Bye.